Right now, as you are listening to this, there is a man-made chemical inside your body. It is in your blood. It has been there for years. And it will never fully leave. You didn't eat it on purpose. You absorbed it from your water, your food, packaging, the non-stick pan you cooked breakfast in this morning. It is in the blood of almost every human being on Earth. In newborn babies. In the umbilical cords of children who have not yet taken their first breath. The company that put it there knew it was toxic. They knew it caused disease. They knew it was building up inside people's bodies. And they said nothing, for decades, while it quietly spread into the blood of the entire human race. The story begins with a miracle. In the mid-20th century, the chemical company DuPont had a wonder material called Teflon. It made pans non-stick. It made life easier. It felt like the future. But fresh Teflon was lumpy and hard to work with. So, starting in 1951, DuPont began using another chemical to smooth it out. A synthetic compound known as PFOA, or, inside the company, simply C8. C8 was extraordinary. It was almost indestructible. Grease slid off it. Water slid off it. Nothing could break it down. And that was exactly the problem. Because a chemical that nothing can break down does not disappear when you are finished with it. It does not rot. It does not dissolve. It simply stays. Forever. At the Washington Works plant in Parkersburg, West Virginia, DuPont made the C8. And they had to put the waste somewhere, so they poured it into the Ohio River. They pumped it into the air. They buried hundreds of tons of it in unlined pits in the ground, where the rain could carry it down into the water table, the same groundwater that fed the taps of the families living all around the plant. An indestructible poison released into the water of an entire community. And almost no one outside the company had any idea it was there. The end. Here is what makes this story a crime, and not an accident. DuPont was not guessing. As early as 1961, the company's own scientists had found that C8 was toxic, that it enlarged the organs of laboratory animals. They knew. Through the years that followed, they kept testing. And the results kept getting worse. They found C8 building up in the blood of their own factory workers. Not just traces, significant levels, accumulating over time in the bodies of the people who made it. And then came the moment they could no longer pretend it was harmless. In 1981, DuPont looked at the pregnant women working in the Teflon division. Of 7 who had recently given birth, 2 had children born with birth defects. 1 little boy was born with only a single nostril, and deformities across his face that would take years of surgery to repair. The company's own pathologist confirmed it. The eye defects in the babies were linked to C8. Now imagine you are running that company, and you have just learned that the chemical you are making may be deforming the children of your own employees. What do? DuPont quietly moved the women out of the division. Then it ended the study. It did not tell the government. It did not warn the public. And the very next year, an internal company memo stated, in writing, that they knew of no evidence of birth defects caused by C8. They had the evidence. They had written it down themselves. And then they buried it, and kept making the chemical for another 20 years. The secret might have stayed buried forever, if it hadn't been for a herd of cattle. In the late 1990s, a farmer named Wilbur Tennant watched his cows begin to die. Not a few. Nearly half of a herd of 300. They grew thin. Their teeth turned black. They bellowed and staggered and dropped, one after another. Tennant's land sat just downstream from a site where DuPont had been dumping its waste. He was sure the company had poisoned his animals. But he was one farmer, against one of the most powerful corporations in America. No lawyer would touch it, until one did. His name was Rob Bilott, and the strange thing was, he was a corporate defense attorney. He had spent his career on the other side, defending chemical companies. But something about the case got under his skin. He took it, and when he forced DuPont to hand over its internal documents, he did not get a folder. He got a flood, tens of thousands of pages, going back decades. Buried inside them was the whole secret history. The toxicity, the workers' blood, the birth defects, the dumping. One document stopped him cold. Back in 1991, DuPont had measured the level of C8 in a nearby stream and found it was around 100 times higher than the company's own internal safety limit for drinking water. They knew the water was unsafe. And the people of the Ohio River Valley had been drinking it, cooking with it, and bathing their children in it for years. What Bilott had uncovered was too big to settle quietly. He filed a class action on behalf of tens of thousands of people whose water had been contaminated. And as part of the settlement, something unprecedented happened. Around 70,000 people gave blood, and scientists spent years studying what C8 had done to them. In 2013, that independent science panel delivered its verdict. It linked the chemical to 6 diseases, including kidney cancer, testicular cancer, and thyroid disease. The settlements came. Hundreds of millions of dollars. Then, years later, hundreds of millions more. But here is the part no settlement can undo. The chemical never left. C8 and the family of chemicals it belongs to have a nickname now. Forever Chemicals. Because they do not break down. Not in the water. Not in the soil. And not in us. Today, these chemicals are found in the blood of more than 98% of Americans. They are in rainwater falling on the most remote corners of the planet. They are in the umbilical cord blood of newborns, passed from mother to child, before that child has drawn a single breath. DuPont eventually stopped making C8. But the poison it released will still be inside human beings 100 years from now. We tend to imagine poison as something dramatic. A dark bottle. A single dose. A villain in the shadows. But the most successful poison of the last century was none of those things. It was invisible. It was useful. It made our lives more convenient. It was in the pan that cooked our food and the water that came out of our taps. And the people who made it looked at the proof, the sick workers, the deformed children, the numbers 100 times over their own safety line, and decided that the truth was more expensive than our health. The chemical is still here. It is in the water. It is in the rain. And if you could look closely enough at your own blood, right now, you would almost certainly find it there too. They knew. And the evidence was inside us the whole time.